All right, so I've noticed a lot of issues have been popping up lately from teachers who make a form and they forget to set to collect the email addresses in their settings. Um, this happens a lot to the best of us. It has happened to me many times, and that is the only reason that I know how to explain to you guys how to fix this issue when it happens. Because when it happens, it is a disaster. What happens is maybe you're giving an assessment or you have an assignment in forms, and if you forget to go to the settings, the all important settings, and select collect email addresses, which again happens all the time, um, then you're not going to have any, basically any names or email addresses attached to your responses. So it's like having a pile of papers with no names on them except they're all typed and uh, or they're multiple choice and you literally can't tell whose is whose. There's no way to distinguish anyone's test from any other one. Um, so when this happens, it really seems like there's no way to get them back. And usually what teachers think is the only solution is to have them take the test again or do the assignment again, which is fine, but we know that for some students, especially if it's a major assessment, or something that they're really stressed out about or just spends a lot of time and effort on, and especially if it's something where there were long writing questions, your students a lot of them are just not, they're going to give up. They're going to be like, okay, I can't do this again. I'm not going to answer this the same way that I answered it before, and you're not going to get as high a quality, or I say high quality, but you're not going to get anything that's close to what their initial genuine answers were. So there is a way to fix this, though. I'm here to offer you a beacon of hope, and show you the solution to this like really super serious major issue. And this has actually popped up several times this week alone, which prompted me to make this video to show you guys how to fix it. So if you have given a test or done an assignment and it doesn't have email addresses, I'm going to go ahead and sort of simulate this by going to preview, and I'm going to pretend to take the test myself, and I'm going to submit it. And I don't have a test key for this, so there's no like actual score available for them. I actually should have done that just to show you guys. So I'm going to go to my answer key, and I'm going to go ahead and select this as my right answer and say done. And I'm going to go ahead and click view score again. And see here, it will show me the wrong answer. And sometimes, you might have it set to show the correct answer as well. Oh, my little translate's popping up. Um, and so they would see the wrong answer, and then they'd also see highlighted the right answer. I thought I had that in my setting to show you guys specifically. So yeah, and it says missed incorrect. So I don't know why it's not showing that. But if we go to my responses, it's popped up now that I have one response. And you could go through here and there's no way to see who responded. There's a section up here and it's got the email addresses and the date and the time that it was submitted, but there's nothing. And when you go to individual, it doesn't say whose it is at all. It just says, a number, and I mean there's no identifying information in any way, shape, or form. So right now is right around where if this happened to you, you would break out in a cold sweat and start to panic because you realize that you made a huge mistake. But fear not. If this happens to you, what you need to do is go back to your settings. Click collect email addresses. Make sure it's limited to one response. It really always should be limited to one response, because if it's not, every time they open it, it's going to open a brand new one. And you don't want them to have to do that. You want them to be able to open it and see the same thing that they had already done. So even though you can't see their email addresses on here, if they reopen it and it's clicked on limit to one response, then they will still see their initial answers. But here's what you really need to make sure you do. Okay, so you need to click edit after submit. Then go to quizzes. You need to make sure you have unclicked missed questions and unclicked correct answers. Point values is up to you. That's not detrimental if they can see their point values. It has no impact on the test really whatsoever or their answers. Except that maybe they'll be like, oh, this isn't worth that many points, and so I'm not gonna like try as hard or whatever. But it still doesn't matter at this point. But you want to unclick these things, and the reason why you want to do that is because this way they're not going to have any clue if how their answers work. They won't see if they missed anything. They won't be able to see if anything was right. They won't be able to take screenshots of it and show it to their friends or anything like that. It's just gonna show the test and their answers. So make sure that these are unchecked, right? And make sure you have clicked collect email addresses and limit to one response and edit after submit. All right, you can change this later after you get your students to do what I'm going to tell you to do. But for right now, you need them to be able to edit it. So go ahead and save those new settings. All right, now what you want to do is you want to tell your students, and you can do this in an announcement or do it in class or tell them over Google Meet or whatever you want to do. And you can, if this is happening with your students in Columbia Homeroom, I would suggest having a Google Meet. You want to make an announcement and then also have a Google Meet, and whoever shows up to that Google Meet, you can watch them do this or give them 30 seconds to do this or whatever, especially if this is a very important assessment. So you're going to have the student open it up again. So let's just pretend that I'm the student. I'm opening it up in Google Classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I'm going to view, or not view my score. I'm going to edit my response. I don't want to translate my page. Okay, edit my response. See, I see my answer, but I don't see anything. I have no idea. I don't have any inkling right now if I need to change my answer or not, if it was right or wrong. So, you want to tell your students that you're not asking them to change anything. You just literally want them to open it up and resubmit it. So as soon as they resubmit it, I want you to notice here, we're going to go back to my responses, and you now have my email attached to it. And it's the exact same test assignment that I had done. If you watch your students on a Google Meet, you can make sure that, they don't have enough time to change any answers if you don't want them to. If they're not on the Google Meet and they do this, I mean, you really don't have control over that, but you can make an announcement and say you have until this time to open this back up and submit it, and after that, I'm going to not allow you to edit your answers. So it's really up to you how you choose to do that, but this is how you can get all of your email addresses reattached to the assignments that they've already completed on Google Forms if you forgot to click the all-important collect email addresses. It's not hopeless. You haven't messed up beyond all salvation. You can fix it, and it's actually really easy, and it's really super quick, and it's a total lifesaver. So I really hope this is helpful to all of you guys. I'm sure you've probably done this. For those of you who have done this before, you're kicking yourself a little bit because you're like, oh my gosh, I went through all that, and all I had to do was this. But don't fret and don't beat yourself up, because like I said, I did this a few times before I figured out how to fix it, and I know the struggle, and it is very real. So anyway, there you go, and thank you for watching, and have a beautiful day.